What's going on, everyone? So the Los Angeles Lakers have been linked to Brandon Ingram as well as Kyle Kuzma. And both guys kind of make sense, give you that 3-and-D wing, give you the versatility, that third option. Both guys were former Lakers, which I think is interesting. Obviously, Brandon Ingram was part of the Anthony Davis trade, so hey, that works, right? We won a championship off of it. But Kyle Kuzma was part of the Russell Westbrook trade, which was not the best result. We're still kind of paying for that even to this day. But what about both of them? Again, just fun conversation narrative, but you kind of look at the model the last few seasons with the Boston Celtics and then the New York Knicks, right? Like, you look at the Knicks most recently, right? Brandon Ingram, Mikal Bridges, right? Versatile, lengthy wing that can play, 2 through 4 essentially, right? You get that kind of more bigger physical type in OG, 6'8", 6'9", can play the 3, can play the 4. Kyle Kuzma, right? Whichever ones you feel are better. I think OG, you can make an argument, is better than a Kyle Kuzma, but I think Brandon Ingram is also better than Mikal Bridges, right? So you add that, you could be like a soup-up charged version of the Knicks because LeBron James and Anthony Davis are better than Jalen Brunson and Karl Anthony Towns, right? So you could kind of be that souped-up version. You'd still have some flexibility. You'd still be like 8 deep. You'd be a little more front-heavy. The problem is making it so, like, trade-wise, like money-wise, it's not hard, right? And you could still keep guys, right? Because talking Brandon Ingram's making little over $26 million. Let's call it $27 million. Because remember, Lakers have to send out more money than they take back. So talking like $27 million for Brandon Ingram. And then Kyle Kuzma is making 23 and some change. But let's call it $24 million. Right, so you're talking $51 million that you'd have to send out. Well, between D'Lo and Rui Hachimura, there's 35, right? So you're already more than halfway there. You throw in a Gabe Vincent, right? So there's 45, and then throw in like a Jared Vanderbilt or a Max Christie or something like that. Let's say Jared Vanderbilt, right? Then there you go, and you have to give up picks. The reason on most seasons you probably would never be able to do that just because Brandon Ingram on most occasions is probably yielding a first, if not multiple. The Washington Wizards want multiple firsts for Kyle Kuzma. They're not getting multiple firsts for Kuzma. Maybe they get a first. If you can work it out to where you get a first, you give up a first for both, assuming that Brandon Ingram is willing to sign a reasonable deal. If he wants max money, it's just not worth it. But Brandon Ingram signed with Clutch. On top of him signing with Clutch, he said himself that he wants to go to a winning environment. He wants to go to a place where he feels like he can win. He doesn't, just not just about the money. He wants to win. All right, put your money where your mouth is, right? Brandon Ingram's contract, if you can get him for around $30 million, right? Say 4 years, $120 million. Perfect, right? Kyle Kuzma's contract actually drops each year. And then LeBron James, he could take a discount and he was willing to take $20 million less to go get, a Klay Thompson and a DeMar DeRozan and all these other guys. Would you take $20 million less for Kyle Kuzma and Brandon Ingram so that way you could fill in some bench depth next season? Sure, I could see him doing that, right? And especially if you're getting Brandon Ingram under that $36 million, right? So you're clearing $6 million off the books there. You're clearing another $2 million off of Kyle Kuzma, right? So there's $8 million less immediately. And then LeBron James could take another, again, $20 million. Like, you may be able to free up your full mid-level exception or something like that. And literally, your starting 5 could be Austin Reeves, Brandon Ingram, Kyle Kuzma, LeBron James, and Anthony Davis. Just think that that's big. It's versatile, right? Still not big on Austin Reeves as your main point guard, but you also have, Brandon Ingram who can initiate, and, he gets 5-6 assists a game too. So you're just looking for an initiator. You can always default to LeBron as the point guard playmaker if need be, but the style of offense that the Lakers are running is not really predicated on like one primary ball handler wheeling and dealing and doing all the crazy stuff, right? It's more of just like, hey, initiate, boom, lots of movement, lots of action, guys are cooking. And it would be kind of crazy, like, imagine if you ended up trading for Anthony Davis, full circle, right? You end up having Brandon Ingram and Kyle Kuzma, and especially if you win a championship with the two, it's just like this full circle moment. I don't hate the idea. I'm not big on Kyle Kuzma, personally, but as like your 4th, 5th guy, yeah, right? Like, gives you what you want. It just comes down to would everyone buy into it. right? Would Kyle Kuzma really buy into that 3-and-D guard, or a forward role? Because if he does, and he is willing to kind of, hey, you know what, like, let's go win another championship, right? I'm here, let's do it, then great, right? And also, is Brandon Ingram okay, like, kind of fitting in? Do have the concerns about, slotted alongside LeBron James. And I'm not going to lie, I would probably prefer, this is just me, I just don't think the Lakers would do it. I would actually prefer Dalton Connect in the starting unit. Go like Dalton Connect, Brandon Ingram, LeBron James, Anthony Davis, and Kyle Kuzma. Because the beauty and the luxury that you have is LeBron James can be your point guard, right? So, like, for position's sake, again, this isn't the YMCA, this is the NBA, right? But just say for position's sake, right? Like, you could have, like, LeBron, Connect, Ingram, Kuzma, and AD slotted essentially 1 through 5, right? You have the luxury because of LeBron essentially being able to play all 5 positions that you can kind of do things that other teams just can't. So you can be big. I mean, your shooting guard could be essentially, how tall is Brand? 6'9", 6'10", right? And then you got Kyle Kuzma, who's 6'9", LeBron James, who's 6'8", 6'9", Anthony Davis, right? Dalton Connect is 6'7". Your smallest guy on the court would be Dalton Connect at 6'7", right? Like, now you're big, you're athletic, you're versatile, right? I also like the idea of Connect as that, like, kind of slotted in three-point shooter, because now you have that guy that can space the floor just better than Austin Reeves can. And again, Brandon Ingram, he can operate in that initiator role, he can operate in the Austin Reeves role. Right now, Austin Reeves is initiating. He's the guy that's kind of on ball doing stuff. You could just slot Brandon Ingram into that role, right? And then boom, there you go. So Brandon Ingram could be the clear-cut third option. You have Kyle Kuzma as your fourth, and then Dalton Connect, I just think, puts it all together so much more naturally, so better. Everybody's athletic. Literally, your least athletic guy at that point is like, who? Kuz? Right? Like, and he's athletic. He's good, right? Or Brandon Ingram, right? Like, that's good, right? Because Connect is like insanely athletic. Again, if you don't think so, go check out the combine numbers, right? He tested like the highest out of like the entire draft. So, you got guys that, you got the athleticism, you got the shooting, you got the scoring, you got the playmaking, you got the size, you got the defense, you got basically everything you need, right? Everyone on the court all average like 5 to 6 rebounds, right? Like, you're in good shape in that regard. And then your bench could be like Austin Reeves. You could still have Christian Wood. Go get a backup center, right? Like, turn a Jalen Hood-Schifino into like, and whatever else, like Jackson Hayes into a Day'Ron Sharpe, because you're not going to have to give up a bunch of picks, right? Like, you could have Brandon Ingram, Kyle Kuzma, and Day'Ron Sharpe, and you'd still have, so you're basically, your starting 5 would be, like I said, again, preferably, Ingram, Connect, Kuz, LeBron, and AD. And then you have like Reeves as your 6th man. You are going to have to bring in a guy or two, right? So, you could bring in a Quincy Olivari if you want or whatever, right? Go with like Cam Reddish. Or if you can keep Max Christie, you could go with like Reeves Christie. Let's say Cam Reddish, Christian Wood, and Day'Ron Sharpe. You're literally 10 deep. You're 10 deep. You have a crazy starting 5 that can compete with basically any starting 5 in the league. Like, at that point, you're just, as long as you're healthy, you're one of, if not the best team in the West, and you're top 2, 3 in the entire NBA, right? Like, I actually kind of like that idea, because again, most seasons, you're not getting Brandon Ingram for just 1 first. But this season, given the circumstances, the only obstacle would be, you may have to find a third team for both, which may cost you more assets. But again, like, if you win a championship, who cares, right? Like, because the Pelicans don't want to take on a bunch of salary, right? They don't want to take on a bunch of like long-term salary, because they still want to compete. They still want to be good. This season's kind of a dud for them, but going forward, they still want to be good. So they don't want to have a bunch of long-term salary, and now they're kind of stuck, right? So you're looking at D'Lo at least going to the Pelicans, right? Because he's expiring, $18 million. Now, would they take a Rui, right? And then maybe they could flip him or whatever. And he only has 1 more year on his deal after this season. So, maybe they look at it as like, okay, that gives us another forward off the bench, right? To kind of give us something, and, better $17 million than 30, whatever million, right? So, or 36 million plus we'd have to give him a new contract, right? So you basically cut your salary in half. And then the Wizards side, I just think that they would just want to pick. They're a rebuilding team anyway, right? So like just give them a pick. So it would just be like trying to match or get to the salaries to get to them, right? So Gabe Vincent, Jared Vanderbilt, and then like I said, throw in Jalen Hood-Schifino or something like that. Here's a young guard on top of a first. Get Brandon Ingram for a first. You have to get it. Like I said, you have to get everyone to buy in and commit on top of, fit would kind of be a question, which is why everyone has to buy in. If everyone buys in and everyone's like, hey, we have a common goal, let's go win a championship. Right, we'll figure everything else out, but let's go win a championship. I think it works, right? Because Brandon Ingram spaced the floor. LeBron James can now just be that Magic Johnson role. He's going to go get his 20 or whatever a game, especially if you have Brandon Ingram, Kyle Kuzma, and Anthony Davis on the court. You upgrade your size, you upgrade everything. Again, it's like, why not, right? And then, like I said, you got Kuz. Next season, he's making $21 million, and then his final season is $19 million, so he drops $2 million each year. And then Brandon Ingram, hey, we'll give you $30 million. Let's go try to run it back, especially if you win a championship this year, right? It's like, hey, let's go run it back, right? Like, that could be good for kind of all sides, and especially if you win, right? And then LeBron's ability to essentially just take a discount, you're automatically clearing $8 million off your books, plus, Christian Wood falls up. So really, it's like $12 million, right? So you basically clear $12 million just right off the gate because Brandon Ingram's making less money, and then Kyle Kuzma drops $2 million, and then LeBron James, like I said, he could take a vet. He's not going to take a vet minimum, but my point is, like, he could take whatever he wants, right? So he, like, especially if he wins a championship, like, let's say the Lakers do something like this and they win. You don't think LeBron's going to be like, man, I could go get number 6, right? Like, of course he would, right? Especially if he's like, hey, man, like, if I take $30 million less, so if I just make, say, $25 million this year, right, we could go free up the full mid-level exception and go get another piece or two, and we could, like, really put, like, you could go get a Bruce Brown and something else, or a Dennis Schroeder and something else, right? And it's like, okay, boom, there we go. Now we're legit, like, 8 deep, right? Like, top in 8 with, like, Connect and Reeves and, let's say you get a Bruce Brown. You go, like, Bruce Brown, Reeves, and then, I don't know, whoever else is available in the offseason, right? Go get another 3-and-D wing. Dorian Finney-Smith, right? Like, if he opts out, right? Get Dorian Finney-Smith. Like, you'd be insane at that point. And it's all because of the circumstances that are there right now. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion, and I pass the question on you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? How do you feel? What are your thoughts? Do you love the idea? Do you hate the idea? Again, however you feel, whatever your thoughts are. I love to hear it, so let me know down in the comments below. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot. So we enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all, and I'll see you all in the next one. Thank you.